popular demand.
The long and the short of it is this.
Because you've asked for it.
Bob Corker is just doing the bidding of the resistance.
The Laura Ingraham Show is back on AM 1680, The Answer.
Clintons and the Obamas. The resistance resides among the Bushes.
Listen to America's #1 female conservative talk show host, Laura Ingraham. Weekdays, noon to 3.
AM 1680, The Answer.
Every day, Poverello House serves 1,600 meals to homeless men and women and families in Fresno County. That's equivalent to one meal for each person at a sold-out Save Mart Center concert. And we've been doing it all with the warehouse and operations center that has seen much better days. Hello, this is Cruz Avila, Executive Director for the Poverello House. Help us raise the roof and fund the construction of a new fully insulated warehouse at Poverello. Together, let's build something that will have a profound impact on our community. Donate today by visiting www.poverellohouse.org or call us at 498-6988.
From AM 1680, The Answer, this is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. And now, here's your host, Lance Cardoza.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to AM 1680, The Answer with Business Leaders Live. We have a great show for you this week. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving, and everybody's going to be getting together with their families and enjoying sometimes reconnecting and just visiting with those family members. We all get so busy, we don't get to see them all the time. So I want to make sure everybody's safe and they have a great time with family and connecting. And talking about connecting is coming up on December 7th. BusinessStreetOnline.com we host an event called the 40 Under 40. And we're going into our 11th year of the 40 Under 40, a decade of some great talent right here, homegrown talent, sometimes transplant talent that comes into the area. They make a difference in their valley, in their civic responsibilities, their leadership, the growing of being an entrepreneur, and maybe serving on a board or a nonprofit organization that they've assisted with, something they have a passion about. And every year, past alumni members of the 40 Under 40, and you can find this all on the website, 40.com. That's 40U, the letter U, 40.com. You can see the past classes over the past decade. And now we're getting ready to celebrate on December 7th at Bitwise South Stadium and the John W. Dotson Theater, the class of 2017. And we're real excited about it. A great group of talent. And over the years, we've seen people connect. So they've connected. They've started businesses from meeting each other for the very first time in the 40 Under 40. They found a bond to connect with and serve on a different board or just motivate an idea or take that idea in the box and take it to the next level. And they're just a great group of talented people. And in studio here today on AM 1680, The Answer, I have Matt Hiett, one of the class members of the class of 2017 in studio. Matt, how are you doing?
Hey, doing good, Lance. Thanks for having me on the show.
Good deal. So, Matt, you're with Kings River Packing. And Kings River Packing, you serve on a board. And I think you probably connected through other alumni members of the 40 Under 40, because when we do the selection committee, they got excited. They saw Matt's name and they said, oh, I know this guy and he's making a difference. And that's what we tend to find with the 40 Under 40. We see some talented people, sometimes quiet people. They're in the background, but they want to make a difference. Some boomerangs like yourself, and we'll talk about that. They left the area, they came back, they went to school or whatever reason, they left for work, and they really realized what they have here in the Valley or family connections, and they come back to the area. And that's similar to your story, correct, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do? So you work Kings River Packing. You're the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, but you didn't just step into that. So you started somewhere. Tell us a little bit about what Kings River Packing is and give us a sort of a synopsis of what that is, and we'll talk about your story and how you came back to Fresno to do this.
Yeah, you bet. Kings River Packing is an organization of entities that's a grower, packer, shipper of citrus, some of the best and sweetest citrus you can find, largely given their proximity to the Kings River and the foothills.
Okay. Where are they located?
They're located out in Sanger.
Out in Sanger, okay.
If you
Just
take Belmont
outside.
kind of straight out of town, it's up towards Pine Flat.
Okay.
They do all varieties of citrus, navels, lemons, mandarins,
Good.
miniolas, caracaras, and you can see the whole variety of our
They have a website?
fruit
where
out
you
on the
can see that?
website. Yep,
Yeah.
kingorange.com.
kingorange.com. I love the website.
Yeah,
Good deal.
obviously, I'm not in marketing, so I don't have the spiel quite dialed in. But
you do the numbers. So,
Exactly.
You take care of the numbers. We got to make sure someone's watching the numbers and making sure that's right. So you didn't just step into that. So you go to school. You grew up here locally?
correct. I grew up out in Reedley.
Out in Reedley. And you went Reedley High School?
I went to Emmanuel High School.
Oh, Emmanuel, okay.
And yeah, my dad raised me on a stone fruit farm with peaches, plums, and nectarines. So,
Oh, good stuff. So then in stone fruit, unique to stone fruit, a lot of people don't know about this, and I grew up taking ag classes and different stuff, is there's a grafting process through the many varieties of stone fruit over the years. Are you familiar? You're nodding like you know what a grafting is.
Yeah,
That they create these different varieties out of grafting. Do you know how that works and how the grafting happens with stone fruit? That they take a piece of one and they blend it into the tree? I know a lot of farmers are listening right now going, come on, get it right, kid.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you all of the science. I couldn't even take you out back and show you how to do it, but I do understand the rotation of, a lot of it has to do with being able to keep the root system in place and being able to switch out the varieties and do some top work to be able to shift course on your varieties.
And doing that for better flavors or size and
or
all
what
sorts
the
of,
market is,
or what
is
the market
asking
demanding
for.
for. And it's incredible what they can do. And when you look into that, you don't realize. And you look at the varieties too. There's a little going on the way out to Reedley right there. And I'm trying to think of what they have the washing well where you can wash your fruit right there on the corner. I can't remember what they are. The little fruit stand. When you go out 180 and it takes the bend and goes into Reedley, and a great little stand. They have only so many varieties of peaches and different, and that's what it is. It's over apples. Same thing. This grafting process and creating these different varieties. And same with citrus and what they do with Kings River Packing. So you leave the area. You go to school. What did you want to do when you decided you were going to go to school, and where did you go?
I had a general sense that I was more numbers oriented. I always enjoyed the math classes in high school much more than science or other areas of study. And so I wanted to go and get a little bit of an experience outside the valley, outside of Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself going to Biola University with a major in business administration, specifically in accounting,
Okay.
and with a minor in biblical studies.
Okay.
And so spent 4 years there studying, and then got to the point where it's like, okay, what's next? And put a lot of feelers out around L.A., with also interviewing through and submitting my resume to Deloitte here in Fresno, thinking I want to go work for a CPA firm and get some experience, ideally a large one, an international one. And as God would have it, the only offer that came across my plate was the one from here in Fresno. And so I was a little bit interested to see what else was out there, but ultimately felt very at peace and very comfortable with that opportunity to come sort of closer to home and what was more familiar. Now, it was in Fresno. My wife and I moved in to Fresno at the time.
Now, was she from here, or did you meet her?
Yeah, we're high school sweethearts, actually.
Cool.
We wound up being able to go to school together down in L.A. and then moving back here together.
And then come back here. So it was easy for her. She understood it. And
Yeah.
because a lot of times you'll get a transplant like that and they go, where are we going?
Yeah.
Then they end up falling in love with it.
Yeah.
They
No, ultimately, it felt like home.
felt like home.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then, and it's almost like a purpose that you look at it and say, well, maybe there's another opportunity out there, but then this one comes up and it brings you back home. So then you come back home, but you don't go right into working in agriculture, but working in any industry you work in, insurance, accounting, whatever it is, largely you're going to be close to working with agriculture just based on it's one of our largest producers and job creators in the valley. So you come back, and what do you do when you first come back from going to college?
Yeah, I started working at Deloitte there at Fig Garden in the audit department. For a couple of years, I spent auditing financial statements of large organizations, a lot of agriculture, but also a lot of healthcare, Indian gaming as well.
Okay.
So just getting to interview their accounting departments and understand the inner workings of how all of that runs and how to read the financials for some of these organizations. It was quite an opportunity coming right out of school.
So your strength, when you come back, you have the love of numbers and how it all works and putting that together. What would you say your strength is when you come back to that? You get a chance to look at different organizations and industries, and they're all ran pretty much the same, employees and cost and overhead. But what would you say your strength is when you come back and you get into that and you say, hey, I like this, I'm good at this. What is that for you?
You know, it's something that I'm always just constantly trying to learn. I have strengths, I think, just naturally in being analytical and kind of casting the net wide and developing perspective. So not a lot of knee-jerk reactions coming from me, but a lot more just analysis-oriented and numbers-oriented, and trying to just comb through the numbers and be able to put a story to that to help whoever the decision makers are understand what those numbers represent.
History is very important to that, correct? You were saying you analyze it, so you
Context.
take a look, context, and
Absolutely.
you're taking a look at what it was in the past, and especially in the growing business. I'm sure that's very similar, but it's also on the consumer side too as well.
Absolutely.
Do you work very closely with the marketing department and some of that too, because it all sort of plays hand in hand on what the market's asking for?
Yeah, I've only been at the company for 2 years, and so every year we're making a step further in that direction for them helping me understand how they operate and me helping them understand a little bit of the history and what the numbers are saying.
So you come back and you had a dream. You said, hey, I want to do this. And you come back and you work with a great family business in Kings River Packing. And then, excuse me, you get the call one day, 2 years into this, and you say, you're in the 40 under 40. And you probably have heard of the 40 under 40 before. You'd never heard of it, but businessstreetonline.com, doing it over a decade, now the 11th year. And past alumni members had the selection committee. Your name came in as a 250-word description on why they felt you needed to be recognized. And it not only was what you're doing today in business, but it was also talking about you in the future and what you're doing currently with nonprofits and boards. And we'll talk about that when we return right here on Business Leaders Live. We're with Matt Hiett with Kings River Packing. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders Live.
Tune in this Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. to Frontline Radio with Ben Berquam, your unashamed, unafraid political evangelist, exposing the left and mobilizing the right to stand in the Central Valley, across the state of California, and around the country. Christ, family, country. It's live, it's local, it's Frontline Radio with Ben Berquam on AM 1680. The Answer, brought to you in part by FrontlineAmerica.com, your source for updates on the battle to restore California's and America's identity.
This is Dr. Jim Cece, Senior Pastor Teacher at Campus Bible Church of Fresno. We're blessed in the San Joaquin Valley to have so many fine Bible teaching churches. However, if you do not have a church home and you're looking for a place where the Word of God is central, why not try out Campus Bible Church? We're pleased to announce that we now meet in 2 locations with a variety of weekend worship services and ministry for all ages. One location is on Maple Avenue, a half a mile south of Fresno State University. The other is on Palm Avenue, just 1 block north of Shields. For more information, you can go online to campusbiblechurch.com or call the church office at 291-9116. I also want to personally invite you to listen to The Ambassador's Call, our radio teaching ministry, every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and Sundays at 12 noon here on this station. Again, this is Dr. Jim Cece, praying that you will, in the words of the Apostle Paul, glorify God in your body today.
If you've fallen behind on your taxes, you know that the IRS is already coming for their money, and they'll get it too by garnishing your wages or maybe even taking your home or business. They call it enforced compliance, and you'd better watch out because the penalties and interest compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. You need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Solving tax issues is all they do. One call to Optima starts the process to stop the demand letters and stop aggressive collection actions. They get to work immediately, fighting to protect your assets and helping you put your tax problems behind you. The IRS writes off millions every year, and Optima knows all the ins and outs of the IRS's tax assistance programs that could save you thousands. So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-970-3199. That's 800-970-3199. 800-970-3199.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey friend, Pat Boone here. For years, I've been warning fellow Americans about the war on cash, such as we saw last year in India, where the government outlawed the use of cash overnight, creating public chaos and hardship. And now, some of our own leaders want to outlaw our $100 and $50 bills right here in the USA. Well, to sort this out, I sat down with a top authority and recorded an interview. It's available now on a free CD or MP3 by calling Swiss America at 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646. I discovered why this war on cash will not end until every dollar that we earn, save, and spend can be tracked by the federal government. I want you to get your free War on Cash CD now and discover which assets still offer privacy and growth potential. Get your free War on Cash CD now, will you? 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646.
The older we get, the more our skin changes. It feels drier, it itches more than ever. It's not your imagination, that itch is real. Good news. You can get fast-acting itch relief with Dermend Moisturizing Anti-Itch Lotion. Steroid-free Dermend uses effective medicine to quickly relieve the itch. And the rich, moisturizing formula is fortified with hydrogenated coconut oil, so it's perfect for sensitive skin, soothing your itch away. Get Dermend Anti-Itch Lotion today in the green box at Walgreens and CVS Pharmacy.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me here on AM 1680 The Answer with Business Leaders Live. You can get past episodes of Business Leaders Live by going to lancecardoza.com. That's C-A-R-D-O-Z-A, lancecardoza.com. And also at noon, Laura Ingram now here on AM 1680 The Answer. She's been here since the top of November, and some from 12 to 3, Laura Ingram, and she's on the airwaves all over the world, the United States, and you'll be able to join her here at noon on AM 1680 The Answer. In studio today, I have Matt Hiett, and we're talking about him. He was selected to be in the 40 Under 40, the class of 2017's Business Street's 40 Under 40. And you can go to 40u40.com and see the rest of the classmates of the class of 2017, and they're the cream of the crop here in the Valley that are making they're movers and shakers, and they're changing the climate of business at a young age and being recognized before the age of 40. And this year on December 7th in downtown Fresno at Bitwise South Stadium at the John W. Dodson Theater, we'll be recognizing that class of 2017. Matt Hiett is the CFO of Kings River Packing. And before we went to commercial break, we were talking about you're a boomerang. So you leave the area, you come back to the area, you married your childhood sweetheart. You guys went to school, Emmanuel and Reedley. And you got to go to school together, then come back together, and it was maybe God's calling that brought you back. You come back, and you work in accounting. Numbers were your game, and you go into Deloitte & Touche. I mean, they're a big accounting firm. Talk to me about that. So you get in there, and you cut your teeth on the business that you felt that this is your calling. And how'd that work out when you came back?
You know, I didn't know exactly what I'd be getting into, but I wound up on the audit side. There's audit, there's tax, there's consulting. I was an auditor, so I was frequently on the road at the job site, at the business that we were auditing. And
you weren't the favoritist people, so you came in, you're taking
out. Yeah. Nobody loves it when an auditor walks in, no matter what kind of auditor you are. At least we weren't IRS.
IRS, you know? Yeah. They open the closet and say, okay, you guys can go work over there.
Exactly.
Go work at this little
we're on your team here. You know, we're trying to help you ultimately, but it's still sometimes a headache
painful process.
For accountants.
Yeah.
Before diving into the numbers, you know, there's a lot of work to be done in evaluating internal controls and fraud prevention processes that are put in place to ensure the integrity of the financial statements. So I found myself doing a lot of the grunt work because I was new at the company. But it was a great opportunity to be able to interview your senior accountants and managers and controllers and CFOs of these organizations, and to build a relationship with them to some extent.
And it's almost like an educational process.
Absolutely.
At the same time. So you're in doing what you love, and you're learning, and you're connecting with other businesses and how they operate.
That's where the learning really starts, is once you get out of school and you start getting to work.
And it's really, to me, it's like the best way to go to school is to get out there and just do it. Just do it and learn from the best, and learn the best practices and not so good practices, and you see it all. And so you start doing that, and you're traveling all over, and you're anywhere from gaming, you were talking about, from casinos all the way to probably agricultural companies.
Yeah.
It leads to also a future that you had a little bit of past with. You were talking before the break that your grandfather had involvement with Hume Lake. So it leads you to Hume Lake, and you look at that. So what happens there when you looked at Hume Lake, and for the listeners that never heard about Hume Lake, give us a little background. What is Hume Lake?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I enjoyed Deloitte. I wasn't necessarily looking for a career change.
Yeah.
But ultimately, life on the road got tough. We were traveling from Sacramento to LA to the Central Valley, time away from my wife while she was in school and working here. And so we started just talking to God and asking, if there was something else in store. And as only He would have it, at church one day, I connected with the CFO of Hume Lake Christian Camps.
Yeah.
And he shared my alma mater. He was also from Biola University. And so he and I kind of hit it off, went to coffee a few times, grabbed lunch, and ultimately he was pitching to me an opportunity to come and work alongside him in the accounting department. To serve the organization that I care deeply about. So Hume Lake Christian Camps is right up the 180, up into Sequoia Kings National Park, one of the top 5 largest camps in the U.S.
Beautiful.
Very
Beautiful
innovative
place.
in their program and how they relate to kids. And then ultimately, the goal is for as many kids and people and families as possible to come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And so an organization that I cared deeply about back in 1946, my great-grandfather had the vision to start this camp. And so,
what was your grandfather's name?
His name was Walter Workentine. He was a farmer from Reedley at the time, and God laid it on his heart to do something that was pretty ambitious.
And you had no idea that you were going to end up working up there doing what you love and assisting the organization.
No idea. It was an incredible opportunity.
So that door opens, you get in there and you see what it's like now working in the nonprofit world and doing the accounting there. And that's sometimes a little tougher because there's no revenue streams. Sometimes they have to create support and fundraising and those opportunities. And how was that? How did that differ from working a big corporation that is established? And Hume is a big corporation. But as the nonprofit worlds work, they're always challenged by there's so many other giving opportunities. So how was that when you got into that?
Yeah, it was different for sure. It was much more budget oriented. There were processes and policies that we had to orient at the time when I had jumped on. There was a off-site camp being launched in New England. So Hume is actually a multi-site organization.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so fundraising and budget management and process development for a smaller camp out in New England, not too far from Boston in Massachusetts. And so sort of scaling from a one site to now we had a corporate hub out of Fresno, so to speak, where I was working, and then a site over in Massachusetts and working with the different laws and regulations there. It was fascinating.
So different laws and regulations. You talk about it, everybody says California's tough. So and you work behind the scenes with the numbers and run as a CFO of organizations. A lot tougher to run business here versus Boston, Massachusetts with the regulations, or is it the same amount of regulations?
It was just different.
It's different, just the way they operate.
Yeah, and I guess part of the battle for me was just being here, and not being a native to that area.
So the education process and staying up on what it says. But now it's multifaceted, different states and regulations, so you get to do that with Hume Lake. And having the backstory with your grandfather being involved, you got a passion to do a good job. So at that point, how do you connect from there to working for Kings River Packing?
That's an excellent question. I'm so glad you asked. I would say the opportunity to be a part of Leadership Fresno, which is put on by the Chamber of Commerce here in town, was a huge eye opener and an aha moment for me about being proud of our community, speaking well of Fresno, the way that program operates, learning all the different facets of how this city works. Was just a real eye-opener, and it ignited in me a passion, not away from Hume or away from camping in any way, but just more of a passion.
A broad scope of what's
city.
here.
And obviously agriculture being such a dominant industry here in this area opened my eyes up to other possibilities, and that's where Kings River Packing came about.
Wow. Matt Hiett in the studio here with Business Leaders Live. One of our 40 under 40 class of 2017. They're all going to celebrate on December 7th. You can go to 40u40.com to see the rest of the class. More to come right here with Matt Hiett when we return with Business Leaders Live.
Hello, baby. By popular demand, Dick Delgado's Rhythm Roundup Oldies Show is moving to Sundays from 3 to 5 p.m. All your favorites from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. 2 full hours of the perfect cruising music to wrap up your weekend with the legendary Richard the Lion, Dick Delgado. So grab your hula hoop and slick back your hair for this sentimental trip through the valley. The Rhythm Roundup with Dick Delgado. Sundays 3 to 5 on AM 1680, The Answer.
Hello, television viewers in the San Joaquin Valley. Remember the good old days of live TV when anything could happen? Remember the best music of yesteryear like Count Basie, Tommy Dorsey, and Harry James? Remember those old-time TV programs like The Jack Benny Show, Burns and Allen, and The Bob Cummings Show? Mix it all up with live in-studio guests and taking phone calls from viewers just like you. What do you have? You have a show like no other in the country each week on KGMC Channel 43.5, Antenna TV, and Comcast Cable Channel 378. Tune your television sets at 7 p.m. every Saturday night for 6 hours of entertainment on the Flying Home with Ronnie Paul show. It's Flying Home with Ronnie Paul each Saturday night from 7 p.m. till 1 a.m. on KGMC Channel 43.5 and Comcast Cable 378.
This is Adam Wolf with the Upper V Show, the Valley's only word for soccer radio. Come check out Fernando Zepeda and myself from 1 to 3 p.m. live on Saturdays, promoting the Valley's soccer talent with interviews from our area's top players from high school to professionals, including the coaches. Come be a part of the show with live calls from the listeners and the fans of the game at 559-442-1680. Like us on Facebook, The Upper V. Follow us on Twitter at The Upper V Show to find out where we will be broadcasting from live.
Serrano's Furniture is the proud sponsor of The Fighter's Voice, Central Valley's only boxing and MMA one-hour weekly talk show featuring local, amateur, and professional boxers with interviews of Hall of Fame guests. Get your weekly news and updates in the boxing and martial arts world with your host from thefightersvoice.com, Richard Ortiz, here at KGED 1680 AM The Answer. Remember, every fighter has a voice.
The Fighter's Voice with Richard Ortiz, Saturday afternoon 5 to 6 and Sunday afternoon 2 to 3 on AM 1680 The Answer. A little smarter.
What you've been talking about rings rife through this area.
And a lot more informed.
I'm a black man in America. I'm a survivor.
It's Jim Franklin Live.
Just wanted to say I like the show, dude.
Weekday mornings at 8 on AM 1680 The Answer. Get it out your mouth. Get it off your chest.
Russian allegations. Being politically correct.
Jim Franklin Live.
Scandals over the White House.
Weekday mornings at 8 on AM 1680.
The Answer.
This is Jim Franklin of Cornerstone Church. I want to invite you to celebrate Christmas with us at the historic Wilson Theater as we present the Christmas musical, The Gospel According to Scrooge.
It's one of the most beloved Christmas stories ever. A story of redemption, revelation, and God's unveiling love. The Gospel According to Scrooge. Come share the excitement of Christmas with a dynamic performance based on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, The Gospel According to Scrooge.
This holiday classic has all the memorable characters, including Ebenezer Scrooge, Bob Cratchit, and of course, Tiny Tim. Bring the entire family. December 2nd and 3rd and 8th through the 11th, 7 p.m. nightly at the historic Wilson Theater in downtown Fresno. For more information and group reservations, go to cornerstonefresno.com. Don't miss The Gospel According to Scrooge.
Admission is free.
God bless us, everyone.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking 40 under 40. It's the class of 2017's 40 under 40. I wish I could have them all the honorees in studio, and we could talk to each and every one of them. But when we were photographing our honorees and they were coming through, you always have that honoree that just is curious and excited and very involved. And when you do the selection process too, you hear everybody get excited about the person saying, "Hey, this guy's a future. This guy he's a mover and shaker. He might even not even know that. You know, he's over here shaking his head." But Matt Hiett is in studio as the CFO of Kings River Packing. And he had questions. He was excited about it, and we wanted to bring him on our show, Business Leaders Live. Over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking with different honorees as we lead up to December 7th when we celebrate the Business Street's 40 Under 40 class of 2017. You can see the rest of the class at 40u40.com. That's 40, the letter U, 40.com. And before the commercial break, Matt, we were talking to you about working in accounting, and you got up to you were at Hume Lake, and your grandfather had a big impact on Hume Lake. He's was the visionary, and I'm sure with many people that made it happen. And great organization today. And Hume Lake, if you've never been up there, it's a beautiful place. So you're there, and then you go on a tour, and you take a tour with Leadership Fresno, with the Fresno Chamber of Commerce. Is that right? And so, Matt, you go on that tour, and you see, wow, it's an eye-opening experience of what's really happening in our valley. And Leadership Fresno, look it up. They can go to Fresno Chamber of Commerce with Nathan and the group over there and be able to take a look at getting into Leadership Fresno, because it was a great thing for you, Matt. And tell us a little about your experience when you went through that.
Through the Leadership Fresno program.
Yeah.
Wow, it was really my first experience, to be honest with you, spending much time downtown. I was living out in kind of southeast Fresno and working, always heading up to Hume that direction and from Reedley. And Leadership Fresno continued to bring me into the city, and it was at a time when Mayor Ashley Swearingen was talking a lot about, how a lot of the groundwork was being laid for the future development of downtown. And so I was, every month or so we'd come into the city to meet with the class and learn about a certain facet, whether that be politics or healthcare or agriculture, and hear from the leading authorities and experts on that topic in this area. And
it wasn't only in downtown. They take you everywhere.
Absolutely, all over the city.
But you got to see sort of the heart of the city, the urban core.
Yeah.
And Mayor Ashley Swearingen, as you said, that was a big topic for her. It is for Mayor Brand. And Fulton Street opening up. So you saw it before. A lot of that started happening. So you saw, wow, there's a lot going on down here.
I just thought it was a fascinating time to kind of come in and get some first exposure, to be able to see it in sort of its original state, and then get to see over such a short trajectory some pretty major improvements.
Talk a little bit about, we won't go off on a tangent because then the callers will blow up the phone, but Fulton Street. So you got to see it before when it was Fulton Mall, as many of us have over the years. It's not the change all. It's the first step in something new. What's your opinion? Because now you've seen it, you've gone and looked at it, you've seen it what it was before. Do you see possibility? Do you see where businesses might be looking at it?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I think it's the first step. I was able to tour with Craig Sharton before anything had really taken place of significance. I was able to be there for the initial groundbreaking, and then just a month or so ago when they did the reopening, and just the transformation that's taking place. I think it can be a huge catalyst, and I think it can be a good starting point. But it's not like we've arrived or that there's any finality to it yet. It's going to take some time.
Take some time, and being a CFO of a company, so it's a good buy to go in and look at starting a business. And the businesses that are already there and the ones that will survive and continue to grow are seeing this, and they're seeing a bump in business because now there's a lot of traffic on the mall. So that's the first step. And now people are coming by their location. They're stopping. They're having lunch. They're being able to know that they exist there. Before, they probably wouldn't have ventured to take that walk, and now they can come by and take a look at it. So I see activity too, and I know the businesses are excited about it. It was a long process through that process, but it moved pretty quick. But that night, that was a huge celebration. So you were there the night when they opened up the street and everybody was hanging out on the street?
Yeah, I was. It was pretty neat seeing cars driving down that thing.
Yeah, cars and just tons of people.
Yep.
20, 30,000 people was incredible. They were everywhere. It was really cool to see. So,
what I think is exciting is, I just kept hearing Mayor Swearingen and people like Jake Soberall talking about, this was back in 2012, 2013, when I really didn't know that much about Fresno. I kept hearing them say, it starts with believing in us and, starting to really have a sense of pride for our city. Mm-hmm. And to sort of be able to see that begin to come to fruition, I think, is what is exciting. It's actually catching. It's actually starting to take place.
And it takes people like Jake Soberall. Jake Soberall, co-CEO of Bitwise Industries, and it takes guys like that to take a risk and say, it is cool. And if you don't get it, you don't have to get it. But the ones that do get it will move this forward. And sometimes you have to be invited. It's almost like church. You have to be invited to come experience it for yourself. So you get invited to be on Fresno Chamber of Commerce's Leadership Fresno. You take this, you visit sites all over. That leads you to visit Kings River Packing, and you get to see what they're all about. And you were saying before the commercial break, you actually knew of them from high school, Kings River Packing. How'd that go about?
I would say it's just it was orchestrated by God, really. The opportunity that Kings River Packing had a time where they were experiencing some growth and really casting some vision for the future of what the family could look like in future generations, how the company can continue to grow and have a substantial impact and do citrus really well. And I think that just sort of synced up with what my skills were and passions were, and how the areas where I could contribute to that growth in that company.
So when you take a tour with Leadership Fresno, that's where you found out they told their story, and you sort of fell in love with the story and the backstory of what their plans were, and you felt you could fill that void and get in there. And we're going to take a short break here in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about Kings River Packing and their family business and what they're doing and your involvement and where the future looks in the industry of agriculture. And we'll talk a little more about that. In studio right now, one of the 40 under 40 class of 2017, Matt Hiett in studio. And you can see all the 40 under 40 by going to 40.com. And any of our past episodes of Business Leaders Live, you can catch at lancecardoza.com. When we return right here at Business Leaders Live, Matt Hiett with Kings River Packing. We'll be right back with more Business Leaders Live.
A little smarter.
What you've been talking about rings rife through this area.
And a lot more informed.
I'm a black man in America. I'm a survivor.
It's Jim Franklin Live.
Just wanted to say I like your show, dude.
Weekday mornings at 8 on AM 1680, The Answer. Get it out your mouth. Get it off your chest.
Russian allegations. Being politically correct.
Jim Franklin Live.
Scandals over the White House.
Weekday mornings at 8 on AM 1680.
The Answer.
Walt Disney Pictures presents a Jim Henson production of a classic Christmas tale.
Coming to the historic Wilson Theater this Sunday night, 6 p.m., the story of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Humbug. He's the world's greediest man.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge.
Until the magical night he meets someone extraordinary.
Hello.
The Muppet Christmas Carol. It's Charles Dickens' classic tale, as only the Muppets can tell it. Stuffed with holiday warmth and cheer.
'Tis the season to be jolly and joyous.
This is the movie to see, to share, to cherish with someone you love.
It feels like
The Christmas season is about to begin, and what a great way to kick it off than seeing the movie The Muppets Christmas Carol in Fresno's oldest existing theater, the historic Wilson Theater at the corner of Stanislaus and Fulton.
It's good to be heckling again. It's good to be doing anything again.
Oh, there goes Mr. Humbug. There goes Mr. Grin.
This is a must-see for the entire family. This Sunday night, 6 p.m. at the historic Wilson Theater. Admission is only $3, children 6 and under free, plus anyone wearing a Muppet costume gets in free.
Thank you for making me a part of this.
For more information, go to cornerstonefresno.com. I'll see you this Sunday night.
God bless us, everyone.
Whatever.
Hello, everybody. This is Lance Cardoza, and every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I host Business Leaders Live right here on AM 1680, The Answer. This week, coming up, the 40 under 40, the class of 2017. We're going to have some of our 40 under 40 honorees right here in studio, where they're all going to celebrate downtown on December 7th for the Business Street's 40 under 40. That's Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. with Business Leaders Live.
I'm amazed at what they're putting in cars these days. DVDs, TVs, CD players, satellite radio. Some even have an annoying voice that'll talk back to you and tell you where to turn and when you missed your exit. And I'm not talking about your mother-in-law. But your car was not meant to eat breakfast in. Breakfast was meant to be eaten at a table, prepared fresh and served hot by a friendly face. I'm talking about eggs, bacon, sausage, pancakes, biscuits, and gravy, waffles topped with your favorite fruit, and served on a plate the way that breakfast was meant to be served. Well, those days are not gone, because that's the type of home cooking that you'll find at your local Huckleberry's. Let me recommend 2 great locations, Huckleberry's at Bullard and 41 and Huckleberry's at Champlain and Parent. They've plenty of friendly servers ready to help you get in and out fast if you have limited time, or to serve your every need if you want a long, leisurely meal. That's Huckleberry's at Bullard and 41 or Champlain and Parent. Oh, don't forget to try their Huckleberry sauce. Tell them I sent you.
This is Jim Franklin. I want to invite you to join me live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Jim Franklin Live. Right after Hugh Hewitt, I'll give you my take on what's happening nationally and, more importantly, locally. Plus, I'll take your calls. Brought to you in part by Roger Story, an investment commercial specialist. Join me Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Jim Franklin Live, giving you the right side of the left coast, right here on AM 1680, The Answer.
Giving you the inside story of business leaders in the Valley and beyond. This is Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza.
We're back in studio here at AM 1680, The Answer. I have Matt Hiett, one of the class members of the 40 Under 40 class of 2017. And Matt, we have to correct something. We were talking during the commercial break. You were in Leadership Fresno, and it connected you a lot of businesses that made you look at downtown Fresno, probably for the very first time, and said, hey, this is the heart of the city, the heart of the valley, and you got to take care of the heart to have the healthy body. And it's something I've always believed in, and you started to see some of that. But you didn't meet Kings River Packing through Leadership Fresno, but it was a friend, correct?
Correct.
Right. And how'd that happen?
It was really through a life group, Bible study, community group kind of arrangement through church, but with roots going back to the Emmanuel community in Reedley. So it was a friend from high school that we were just doing life together, trying to grow and become formed spiritually together with families and other groups that were connected with church. And this opportunity started to sort of surface as far as joining the company, being able to apply my own skills and passions and abilities to where they had direct need, and kind of took off from there.
And you loved their story and what they were doing. You felt you could serve and be able to make a difference there.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could go back and take on another major or minor or something like that in studies, I think it'd be history. I'm always intrigued by history. We talked about my own great-grandfather's history up at Hume Lake. The history of this company is fascinating. 8 generations ago in the family, the first citrus tree was planted in Fresno County on their property, right across from where the packing house is today. That was back in the 1860s.
And that's Sanger, right?
In Sanger.
Sanger, Kings River Packing.
Correct.
Okay.
There's a monument there to this day for the ancestor that brought oranges up from Mexico, planted it there, and now you have beautiful orange groves there many generations later, and hopefully for many generations to come.
And so the company, you're working now 2 years you've been out there, and it's a learning process, just like every company and organization that led you to this. The family, I'm sure you're learning a lot off them, how they operate and what they're doing, and you're advising them and be able to do that. What's the biggest challenges that you see agricultural businesses, and it's forever changing, employment law, everything else? What's the biggest challenges for those businesses in your industry, what you're working in currently right now?
There's a lot of big ones. I think just doing business in this state has its own challenges, but all of ag is talking about labor. They're talking about water. The citrus industry specifically has the threat of the Asian citrus psyllid, which has had a major impact on the Florida citrus industry and is apparent down in Southern California a little bit.
Explain that a little bit for a listener that's maybe the first time they've heard that. So what is that?
Yeah, there's a disease called HLB, and it's carried by a psyllid or an insect.
Yeah.
It's called ACP, or the Asian citrus psyllid.
Yeah.
And once it attacks a tree, it basically kills the tree, and it's specifically citrus trees that are subject to that.
Okay. So it's an ongoing issue that's a
Yeah,
challenge.
there's a lot of research, a lot of dollars being put towards how do we stop this threat to the industry in California, because it is a significant one.
And with that, it just makes the cost of citrus to go up when farmers and packing houses are being hit with this. So a lot of times it's good to know that these are where it's happening. And when your politicians are talking about they're trying to support that, or water issues or any of these things, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for all these things. So in that process, that's a big challenge. And then what are the things that you see as the future in your industry that you're in right here with Kings River Packing? What do you see as the future? What's coming? And technology is incredible, and that changes. What's happening in your industry right now currently?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Technology will continue to advance pretty rapidly, I think. I wouldn't say I have a whole lot of strong opinions. I think what really sets Kings River Packing apart is just their treatment of people, the way they treat growers, the way they treat employees, their faith, their values, their culture. And so without worrying too much about these threats and challenges, I think just staying true to what's made them successful over the generations and staying loyal to that will continue to help them to weather the storm and be successful going forward.
And pull through and keep doing what they do right. And that's sometimes what you got to work on. Work on your strengths, and that's what you're doing out there. So then working out there, you get involved with, I know a couple nonprofits that you're, or one specific. Tell us about your involvement there. And that's what led to the 40 Under 40, for you being selected as your involvement also there. Tell me about your nonprofit that you're very near and dear to your heart.
Well, there's a number of them. I would say it was just sort of that transition from Hume Lake, working in the nonprofit space, over into for-profit and agriculture. You know, I was very intrigued by the opportunity to learn different things like entity structure and legal structure, all sorts of facets of the business, tax planning, things like that you just didn't deal with in nonprofit. But at the same time, moving into that space, it just left a little bit of a hole or a desire for me to leverage those skills in nonprofit that I had developed and leverage them for the community. And so at that point in time, and also being involved in Leadership Fresno, there were a number of organizations that I'll get to telling you more about each of them, but that I was able to kind of come in and plug in some of those skills and things that I had learned while I was at Hume into nonprofits that had need of those areas. And so for me, it's a lot about just kind of helping to set the stage. You know, in a lot of areas, I'm not necessarily the mouthpiece or the guy out on the front lines trying to talk about a cause or a vision, but I can help execute, and I can help kind of tighten up the administration of it, or, you know, make sure the financials are making clear sense and able to be used for making decisions.
And a lot of nonprofits live and die by that, you know, that it's, if they can be strong, if they have good advisors that are on the board for them, a lot of them fall apart because of the lack of vision for that. So one of the boards you were talking about during the commercial was...
Yep, Next Gen Philanthropy.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
A fantastic organization of young professionals that were linked up with the Central Valley Community Foundation, but they've been running 4 years strong now, and they come together to pool their resources, their time, their talent, and their treasures, and spend about a year trying to cast the net wide, understanding what are the needs in our community, what nonprofits are doing things about those needs or issues, and then how can we allocate our dollars in a collective fashion and then grant them at the end of the year or this season to those organizations to have an impact.
Beautiful. Good stuff. Matt, thank you for being on the program. We're not done yet, though. We got our last segment here of Business Leaders Live. Matt Hiett with the class of 2017's Business Street's 40 Under 40. When we come back, we're going to find out something about you, Matt, that no one knows. We'll share that with our audience here on AM 1680, The Answer. Stay with us. We're almost wrapped up here with Business Leaders Live.
It's the Regency Free Accessory Fall Savings Event at Backyard Spa and Leisure. Fall is here, and now's the time to think about cozying up to a nice warm fire with your Regency fireplace. Now through November 27th, you'll save up to $690 and get free accessories like a ceramic log set, blower unit, and venting. Let the experts at Backyard Spa and Leisure design the best Regency fireplace option for you and save during the Regency Free Accessory Fall Savings Event at Backyard Spa and Leisure on the northeast corner of Fresno and Alluvial.
There are thousands of different rules in the Social Security Handbook. Are you confident that you know the right ones that apply to you? The wrong decision could be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. At Financial Engines, we believe there's no one-size-fits-all answer to claiming Social Security benefits, and that it's important to work with an advisor to understand the pros and cons of delaying benefits and how to avoid the hidden traps that could reduce them. As America's largest independent investment advisor, according to Investment News, Financial Engines offers help to more than 9 million people. We provide objective, personal, and comprehensive planning advice. Get to financialengines.com. We'll connect you with an expert financial advisor in your area who will help create a retirement and Social Security benefits plan so you don't risk leaving anything on the table. So, financialengines.com. Get started today.
This is John Sayers with Financial Engines in Fresno and Visalia. Let's talk about the financial goals that are important to you, and together we'll develop a plan to help make them happen. Call me at 559-434-9800 or visit financialengines.com.
Veterans face treacherous situations filled with peril while serving our country. Many veterans come home physically injured, suffering with PTSD, have traumatic brain injuries, or other ailments. For over 45 years, Help Heal Veterans has provided therapeutic art kits to these critically injured veterans at no charge to them. Help us heal vets. To volunteer or learn more, visit healvets.org. Help a veteran. Visit healvets.org.
You are listening to Business Leaders with Lance Cardoza, the behind-the-scenes story of the business shakers and movers in the Valley and beyond. Once again, here's Lance Cardoza.
Welcome back, everybody. An exciting show. Over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking to honorees of the class of 2017's Business Street 40 Under 40. What's the 40 Under 40? So these are the cream of the crop, as I describe it. The movers and shakers in business before the age of 40. They're being recognized by their peers in the past classes of the 40 Under 40. I have Matt Hiett in studio with Kings River Packing. Matt, we're talking about your involvement with the nonprofits that are near and dear to your heart, and also something that somebody doesn't know about you as we wrap up this show, Business Leaders Live. What were those other nonprofits that you're involved with? Yeah, it's been a joy to be able to link up with and serve a number of organizations. Next Gen Philanthropy being one of them up at the foundation. Neighborhood Industries, just right down the street, the neighborhood thrift store. I know Anthony Armour and Brian File, two guys associated with that organization in the past that are also 40 Under 40 alumni. Yeah, both of them, yeah. So a number of churches as well, Neighborhood Church Fresno, and Joe White down in the Jackson neighborhood, and then Via, who Jordan Deepersloot is involved in that up on the north side of town with just an incredible vision to transform the city through the love and presence of Jesus, one person at a time. So to link up with some of these organizations to serve and offer, my skills and services to them has just been a blessing. It's awesome and still a little bit surreal to be on this 40 Under 40 list. I look at the resumes and the past alumni on that list, and it's just an incredible experience to have the opportunity to get to know some of them and network with them. Something about me, I played lacrosse in college. That's not a sport that's really hugely, wildly popular here in the Valley, but an incredible sport no less that I think everyone should get to know a little bit. And then currently I'm pursuing my MBA degree, so a little bit shout out to the dogs and to my cohort 17, the executive MBA program at Fresno State. So you're going back to school, continued education, and get that MBA. Always learning. Very cool, very cool. So, hey, thank you for being on the program, Business Leaders Live. And Matt Hiett, CFO of Kings River Packing, you're going to celebrate on December 7th with what we call the Ultimate Networking Event. And it's a powerful, fun, quick night as you celebrate with your fellow classmates, 40 Under 40. You can go to 40u40.com to see the rest of the class. We will hear you next week. You'll hear us here on Business Leaders Live.
In the future, your home's energy footprint is going to be much smaller than it is today. Energy efficiency and green building programs combined with government incentives and private ingenuity will reduce your energy consumption anywhere from 20 to 40%. Green is good, and it will save you money.
Our family at Donald P. Dick, your locally owned and operated heating and air conditioning company, and proud to be the People's Choice Award winner for the 9th straight year, reminds you to go green and save. Call